Okay. It's gonna be hard for me to do. Took me 100 times. Oh, it took me 100 times to attempt to make this video, but today I'm gonna be telling the story on how I lost my firstborn child, Alea Marshall, and what happened. Okay, we're gonna start it at, I guess we could say, it was about 2 months before, so we could say December, I think. In December, I was at North Little Rock High School. That's my school that I go to. Some of y'all that watch my channel, y'all go there with me, and y'all might have remember when I was leaving the school in the ambulance. I was getting rushed to the hospital because I was having abdominal pain, and it wasn't right. I thought it was that I was going into labor early. I knew I was at high risk because I had preeclampsia, which is high blood pressure during pregnancy. But I didn't know that I was at such high risk that I was at, And so I got to the hospital, and he asked me what was wrong, and I told him it was pressure at the bottom of my stomach on the opposite side of where Alea's head was, and he said, well, it's just Braxton Hicks contractions, like it's normal. And I was just telling him, like, are you sure? Because that hurt, like, really bad. Like, I never had felt the pain that painful throughout that whole pregnancy until then. And he assured me that everything was okay. So I went with it. I didn't question it, didn't say nothing. And they gave me an ultrasound, and I actually found out the gender of my baby that day. I figured out it was a baby girl. And I'm 16, so I'm young. And of course, is nobody wants to, have a baby at 16. Like, when they figure it out, it's not like, oh, I'm super happy. Like, you go back and forth with the emotions of, like, am I ready for this? Like, am I going to be good enough? Like, am I going to mess up? Or when I found out that I was going to have a daughter, I had, like, finally felt that love that I knew I was going to have for her, but I hadn't felt it yet. But when I found out, then that's, I realized, like, hey, I'm finna be a mom, I'm finna have a whole daughter out here. Okay, sorry, hold on. Okay, so once I figured out I was gonna have a daughter at that appointment, nobody said anything about the pain. He just figured it was Braxton Hicks, and they didn't do any type of measurements or like exams on my cervix, which they should have, which we'll come to find out later on in the story. But so a couple months went by, say about 2 months went by. I went to the hospital for my normal checkups, and they did a cervix exam, and they found that my cervix was short. My cervix was only 0.84 centimeters when it should have been at least 3 centimeters thick to hold in a baby, But oh my god, it's hard. Okay, so they found out my cervix was short. My cervix wasn't even a centimeter thick, and it should have been at least 3 centimeters thick, But it wasn't, and there was nothing that I could do about it. But the doctor, when they found out about the cervix, they advised me to, well, actually, they admitted me into the hospital. And I went and had a surgery done. And I had a cerclage placed. A cerclage is a stitch inside the vagina on the cervix that closes it and keeps it from opening and holds the baby in. And it holds the baby in because when your cervix is not thick enough, the baby starts to come down, which you don't want. So I had that placed, and everything was going good. I thought the cerclage would help her stay in. I thought the cerclage would help her stay in till she was, developed enough to survive outside the womb, but it didn't. I had the cerclage for about a month. Then one day I woke up at like 6 in the morning. I kept feeling like flutters in my stomach, and it wasn't bad. It didn't hurt. It wasn't pain or nothing. But she hadn't been moving as much like the other days, and so I just figured she was like super active. But then as the day progressed, the flutters started to become painful a little bit. I was getting cramps in my back, and but none of it was like super bad, so I didn't think nothing of it, unfortunately. Even though that wouldn't have, even if I went in to the hospital earlier, wouldn't have changed nothing. But so come to find out, I went to my mom and I told her that I had been feeling movement all day, more than usual. She was like, call the hospital and see what was happening, because with the cerclage still in place, if you have contractions with the cerclage that's still placed, it's you're at risk for tearing your cervix apart. So you have to take it out, or your cervix can rip apart and you'll bleed open. You bleed out. So I had to go in and get the cerclage taken out because I was contracting. And that was February 20th, 2019 at 7:04 p.m. Alea came. I had got an epidural in my back, so I was sleeping for about 2 hours, but I had been in the hospital since like 11 o'clock p.m. the previous night before having Alea. And I'm sorry if I'm like mixing my words. It's not hard. I mean, it's not easy to talk about it. I had been in labor for about a whole day before I even went to the hospital, because I didn't know that I was in labor. So I went in and got the cerclage taken out, which was the only thing holding her in, because my cervix was short. So my amniotic sac was slipping down already. And I had got the epidural, and I fell asleep. And then I woke up, and I was starving. I hadn't ate. Felt like forever. So I sat up to eat some food in my bed, and the nurse told me that I had a catheter in. So as I was eating, it felt like I peed. So I asked the nurse, I'm like, don't I have a catheter in? She was like, yeah, you do. I was like, you're not supposed to feel when you pee if you have a catheter, are you? She said, no. I said, well, it feels like I just peed. And then I looked down. She lifted the covers, and I looked down. And Alea just was like right there, and she was still in the amniotic sac. And I didn't see her face in the sac, but I saw the back of her head. And I just remember looking up. I just remember looking up, and the nurse, she covered Alea back up as if she was already dead. And she went and got more nurses, and I wanted to lift the cover back up, but I couldn't. My grandma, she grabbed my hands, and she said, "Look at me, just look at me." And all I remember was I just kept saying, "Why is she not crying? You know, like why is she not crying?" And I couldn't look at her. The incubator was on the other side of the room, and my grandma was holding my face like this. And I just kept saying, "Why is she not crying?" I kept trying to look, but I couldn't. But I mean, some part of me knew that she didn't make it, but the other part of me was just wanted her to cry, you know. And when my grandma let my face go, I looked over. And I said, "Is she okay?" Nobody said nothing. They just looked at me. And then I said, "Did she make it?" And I remember Jalen was looking at me, and he had tears coming down his face. And he don't never cries. Like, he never cries. So I knew it had to be serious. And then my heart it just broke. Because the nurse shook her head no. And then I just got quiet. I don't remember nothing after that. I don't feel a minute, a while later. They a while later, I looked up, and I think I went back to sleep because I still had the epidural in me, and I was shocked, you know. I looked up, and Jalen was in this rocking chair, and he had Alea in his arms, and he still had tears on his face. And all I could think was, man, I don't want to see her. You know, I don't want to see her. Like, I don't want to see her. And to this day, I still think, I don't know, maybe it would have hurt less if I didn't see her. But Jalen came over there and he handed her to me. And she was so pretty. I mean, she was so pretty, and she was so little. I mean, like, she was tiny. She was like literally like this long, and she was like not even this wide. She's probably about this wide. Yeah. And I just cried. Because she looked like Jalen and me, because that's who she was. She was me and him. So that's what happened. I went into labor early, and I had to take the cerclage out. The cerclage was the only thing holding her in. But I guess I could just tell y'all how it made me feel. It made me. It just hurt. It hurt so bad. I know I lost my dad when I was 9. My dad was like my best friend. And this pain was like so much worse. Cause it's like you looking at yourself, this mini version of you that you was waiting to meet, laying there just lifeless, and you can do nothing to bring her back, or and you know, me being so young, I had to deal with all the hard parts of pregnancy. I went through the disappointment talks, and I went through the people looking at me crazy when I walked in the hallways. They stared at me. All my family called me dumb for thinking that a baby would make Jalen stay. I heard that so many times. And I went through all the appointments, staying up till 2 a.m. at the hospital all the time. And it just made me, it broke me, to be honest. It broke me for real. It really did. Because, like I said, I was going back and forth on whether I could do it or not. Then, when I finally got the love for her that I knew that couldn't be replaced, I lost her. And to see how pretty she was, and she wasn't even fully developed, I can't even imagine. It's like, if you have kids right now, and you watching this video, and they're like 1 or older, and you get to laugh with them and play with them, and you get to just be around them. Just imagine not being able to do that. You know? Imagine going through all the stuff you went through, like all the hard parts, you know. Crying in the middle of the night, and buying all the food, and car seats, the clothes, the swings. You know, just doing all the hard parts. And then not getting to see your baby smile, or not knowing what their eyes look like, or having to bury them. It's tough. It's real tough. And if you ain't been through it, you won't understand. You won't understand why I'm crying so much. I swear to God, I'm not trying to. I don't even think I'm gonna edit this video. But honestly, I have people that I can talk to, but I don't want to, because the people that are willing to talk to me are hurt too. And like my mom, okay? My mom is more than willing to talk to me and comfort me, you know? But that was her granddaughter. You know, that was her first granddaughter, her only one that she has, and she was going back and forth on it too. But when she finally accepted it and was happy and loved her. She lost her too. It's the same thing. It was. It's just. She feels like she has to be strong around me, even though I know she's hurting, so that we don't both be depressed at the same time. You know, she lets it out sometimes by herself, but it's hard for me to go and express myself to her, knowing she wants to express herself too, but she can't. I feel like that's not fair. So I'm choosing to keep it to myself until now. And honestly, I feel like I did not deserve this. If you know me, or if you were following me before she passed away, you know how happy I was and excited I was for her to come here. You know how much I bought her. You know how much I just talked to her at night and I read to her and I prayed for her, I prayed over her so many times. And that's why I lost faith. Because I don't understand. I just don't. And until I have an explanation, I don't think I can trust in God no more. You know, everybody's saying like God did this for a reason, like you're 16, he's giving you another chance at life, but I don't feel like that. I just don't. I feel like I want my daughter. She was perfect. And I love her. And I know she would have loved me too. And not to be able to experience that bond where in person is it hurt. It hurt a lot. Okay? And I don't think nobody will ever understand that if you haven't been through it. Or if you've lost a child, yeah. But if you haven't gave birth to a child and saw them, and saw yourself in them, you don't know. You don't know what I'm feeling right now, okay? And I appreciate y'all's condolences, and I appreciate everybody saying, you know, you can come talk to me, but I really can't. Because there's nothing nobody can say to comfort me. Like, hugs don't even work no more. Okay, hold on. Hugs don't even work no more. And you know, the prayers don't work no more because I prayed so many times and he still took my daughter. And I was 9 when he took my dad. I didn't see it. I had straight A's. I didn't cuss. I didn't do nothing. And he took my dad anyways. And you can't tell me it's gonna be okay. Because I don't feel that way. And I wish I did. I wish I really saw it as another chance. But I don't. You know, my days are okay. But then at night is this. This is every night. I cry myself to sleep every night. I'm gonna go to counseling. But there's nothing a counselor can do or say to me. There's nothing nobody can say or do to bring her back. Like, this is it. She's gone. And I have to deal with that for the rest of my life. Like, even if I was to have another child. It's not Alea. Alea was my first. And she's gone. Alea was my first. And she's gone. And that hurts a lot. You know what? I don't even apologize for crying no more. You can laugh at me, screen record me, send me to your friends, make me a meme. I don't care. This is how I feel. I deserve closure. And I thought it was gonna get, I thought after the funeral I would be okay. But that only lasted like 3 days. Then I went in my closet and I I went in my closet and I got her box. And I saw her bare. You know, I think I was doing okay when I was in the hospital after she passed away. I wasn't, you know, I wasn't really thinking like my daughters passed away, you know. Because she was still in the room with me. Like, I could hold her and pick her up whenever I wanted to, even though she wasn't alive. I had her. I had her to hold. And that just made me feel so good. So, so when I left the hospital, I had to leave the hospital and say my goodbyes to her. And know that I would never see her again. That's when I got messed up. That scarred me for life. And I really don't know how I'm going to come back from that. Because I've been trying, you know, I try to go places to get my mind off of it. I try to go out and do stuff so I can be happy. But at the end of the day, this is it. I gotta face reality. I have to deal with this, man. And it's messed up. Because I didn't do nothing to deserve it. And, like, nobody can tell me why she was taken away from me. I just feel like it's not fair. I did everything I could. I did everything I could. You know, I went to every appointment. I wasn't late. Anytime I felt like something was wrong, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm at the hospital. I'm making sure everything's okay with my pregnancy. I'm making sure she's okay. I'm praying. I'm like, hey, make sure nothing's wrong, you know. I'm praying to God. I'm praying. I'm like, don't let that happen to her. And I still lost her. I still lost her. I don't know what to do, y'all. I swear to God, I know. I just think to myself, I get mad when I think about the stuff I could have done differently because I know that it's like, dang, why you just thinking of this now? Like, why you didn't think of it before it was too late? And it just upsets me all over again. I just really want to hold my daughter again, you know? I don't apologize for crying. I don't apologize for anything that I said. This is how I feel. This is not a joke. I don't care how y'all feel about my pain. I needed to get this off of my chest. Alea was my daughter. It make me mad. Like, why would he take my why would he take my daughter and my dad, you know? Like, dang, you don't think one hurt was enough? You know, they say they're in a better place, but you don't feel like I deserve their presence. You don't think I deserve their love? And you can't even answer me. I need to stop this video. I really do. It's a long video. I just wanted to tell y'all what happened and how I felt. And I think I did just that. I don't know, y'all. I'm gonna do my best to. I'm gonna do my best to recover, but it's not easy. I know that much. So if you see me and I'm not even the same. Like I used to. I can't even. Words can't explain, man. But if you watch this whole video, now you know what happened, and you know, I did my best, and I just feel like I just don't feel like it was fair. But I thank y'all for watching, and I would appreciate if y'all would like and subscribe. I can't do it no more. Thank y'all though. So happy I got that off my chest. Didn't mean to be a crybaby, but it's a pain that you just can't keep inside, even no matter how hard you try. And I don't even know how my boyfriend doesn't cry. Because I know he loves her. He only cried one time that I saw. So I know he's messed up. And the prayers may not work for me, but I definitely pray for him. And I pray for my mom. And I pray for his mom. I'm such a crybaby. This makeup is over with. Thank y'all for watching though. And I appreciate y'all time. And I would love it if y'all would subscribe. That's the story.